when I became an extreme minimalist, because in extreme minimalism, you can't accumulate material possessions. That cuts out a lot of secular life. But in actually practicing minimalism core rules, I really did end up learning the lesson firsthand that collecting memories is way more useful than collecting material possessions. Most extreme minimalists that I have followed usually just wear black, just because black is also very utilitarian. If you get a stain on it, no worries. No one can see it. Hey there, my handsome and pretty little Cobras, and welcome back to the Cobra's Nest. For those of you who are new, my name is Mignon Cobra and I make minimalism videos. For those of you who are new, you might be wondering, why does it say Natalie, even though it says Mignon? My username used to be Mignon Cobra, and then because of legality issues, I had to use my real name, so that's why it's Natalie. But I still do embody the little cobra that I am, so that's why I still say Mignon Cobra at the beginning of my videos. So today's video is going to be my best 5 extreme minimalism tips from a former extreme minimalist. For those of you who are new, I used to be an extreme minimalist for all of almost 3 years, but I couldn't quite make it before I went insane. But it seems that a lot of my extreme minimalism videos have been performing really well again. I think that this state of the economy has got some people scared and running to minimalism for financial aid, which I think is fantastic. No judgment. But yeah, I got the best 5 things that I could recommend to somebody that I actually still do practice in my own life today, even though I'm just like a regular schmegular minimalist. I'm not an extreme minimalist anymore, but you guys love these hardcore tips. So ask and you shall receive. Actually, let me just read to you guys what the things are, and then we'll get right into the video. So the first one is wear only one color. Number 2, no one lives forever. Number 3, collect memories, not things. Number 4, judge not others. And number 5, free yourself from society. So if those hardcore tips sound interesting to you, let's get right into the video. Let's get it. Let's go. Woo. Okay, coming in at number 1, wear one color. So this is a very extreme minimalism tip. Most minimalists, regular minimalists, don't do this. We have shades that we like to wear. We probably have neutrals. People have classics. That's actually more core minimalism. If you're going for extreme minimalism, I think a really good tip is just to wear one color. Most extreme minimalists that I have followed usually just wear black, just because black is also very utilitarian. If you get a stain on it, no worries. No one can see it. And if you only own 4 pieces of clothes, then thank God it's black. Not to mention that if you only own a little and you wear white and you're always wearing it, it's gonna get filthy fast. But I wear a lot of white as a minimalist. Well, currently I'm wearing beige, but yeah, you guys can see that I wear a lot of white because I like white. I find that white is a very flattering color. But when I was an extreme minimalist, I wore all black. Did I love it? I absolutely hated it. Full transparency, I hated it. It was so depressing. I know I shouldn't be telling you guys these things, especially if these are extreme minimalism tips, but just full transparency, I absolutely hated wearing black. I felt like I was at the morgue. It was depressing. It was very uncreative. It sucked. I couldn't wait till I didn't have to do this anymore. Why was I doing it? I had student loans to pay off, okay? But do I still love wearing only one color? I do. That is actually the core rule I still take with me. I wear a lot of just white on white. I realized when I wore all black that if it's all one color, it all matches. So it's actually a tip I still use to this day to the best of my abilities. Not so extreme, but I realized it all matches. So I wear a lot of white on my day-to-day. Should have worn my white headband. So if you are on an extreme minimalism journey, I can advocate for wearing the same color. Is it an erotic tick? Is it wasteful? Are you going to declutter clothes that you probably should have kept but it didn't match your colorway? Probably. Is it part of the journey? Probably. But c'est la vie. Okay, coming in at number 2, no one lives forever. How extreme minimalistic is this? I feel like it's very core extreme minimalism. So in wearing all black, it made me question my mortality. It made me question, how long am I going to live on this earth for? Wow, that must have been a really rough time that I was asking myself these deep-rooted questions. In my extreme minimalism, I was like, how long do I have to do this for? I kind of felt very freed in this idea that no one lives forever. And in kind of realizing that no one lives forever, I realized I'm not going to live forever. And once I realized I wasn't going to live forever, I was like, if I'm not going to live forever, why don't we just go live our best lives? Hence why I quit extreme minimalism. And I introduced into my life a lot of things that in my extreme minimalism were a no-no. I was like, no luxury bags, no makeup, no dyeing your hair, no living in a nice apartment, no, I don't even know the weird ass rules I came up with. No table. I remember in my extreme minimalism, I didn't have a table. I sat on the floor. But when I realized no one was living forever, and myself included, I started to enjoy life, because I was like, oh my god, like I'm not actually going to be here forever. I don't have to keep suffering like this. So yeah, I quit extreme minimalism. Literally, like in that movie, the monk comes down from the mountain, and I just became secular. I dye my hair now, I wear makeup, I have a table. What else? I buy luxury items. I eat at the restaurant, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? Like, it's fine. Like, no one's living forever. Like, we are not making out of this alive. And I know that's probably not what you wanted to hear in your extreme minimalism journey, especially because if you are on an extreme minimalism journey, you're probably like still whipping yourself on the back and saying like, I'm so enlightened. Look, I don't have X, Y, and Z, and look how little I can get away with. I personally think that's part of the journey, and I think that if you've never experienced that, I think it's a great life learning lesson. But I feel like based on a lot of the extreme minimalists that I have seen, and this is clearly not just a me thing, a lot of people come out the other end and realize, wow, I actually want X, Y, and Z in my life. And then you feel shameless about it because you realize that like you weren't actually any better of a person with or without it, so you might as well have it. Like, you're not holier than thou because you don't have a table. You're not holier than thou because you don't drive a Benz. And sometimes some of the things that we had cut out of our lives, you know, like I'm just being brutally honest here. I'm saying the quiet parts out loud is because we couldn't actually have it. So we were just sour graping by saying, well, since I can't have it, I'm just not going to have it. Am I allowed to say that? Which is fine, I think, especially because extreme minimalism is really popular with either the very young, the very old, and the very poor. Oh my god, am I allowed to say these things? You'll realize that you'll go through your extreme minimalism, you'll realize this is kind of useless and a waste of time. Great experience. Chef's kiss of an experience, but then you realize, well, you know what? I might as well just go do what makes me happy, because at the end of the day, nobody lives forever. Okay, coming in at number 3, collect memories, not things. I love this one. This tip is actually one of my favorites, and one that I didn't really understand or agree with until I quit being a minimalist. Okay, so hear me out. When I was a minimalist, I followed the mantra. Like, I was like, I don't understand this lifestyle very deeply. I'm just going to follow the rules. Minimalism advocates for a reduced emphasis on material possessions and owning less possessions and decluttering your possessions. So I was a good little sheep. I did that. I decluttered my stuff. I was constantly decluttering my stuff. I tried to make all of my stuff just fit a suitcase. Like, I did everything a good minimalist is supposed to do, right? This forced me to have to spend my disposable income on experiences. God damn it, I was forced to have to travel and eat in expensive restaurants because I couldn't buy material possessions. What did I learn? Oh my god, they're right. Collect memories. I'm very well traveled for somebody of my age, just because, well, I just didn't have any money to spend on stuff. Like, okay, most of it went to student loans, and the little that was left over, I had to make a choice. I could either buy stuff or I could go on holiday. So I always made the decision that, you know what, like, let's just go on holiday instead. Yeah, it means I own nothing, but at least I'm going on holiday, because, like, god damn, these student loans are depressing the hell out of me. But in actually practicing minimalism core rules, I really did end up learning the lesson firsthand that collecting memories is way more useful than collecting material possessions. Now, fast forward to today, as not really an extreme minimalist, just a regular minimalist. Do I agree with this narrative? I mean, yes and no. It's hypocritical for me to tell you that I don't buy things. You guys have seen my channel. Your girl likes to shop, and I have expensive taste, so I do buy material possessions. But I realized that as no longer like a hardcore minimalist in buying material possessions, they do not compare to my memories. So I've actually kind of slowed down the shopping and actually started to spend more money back on experiences, because at the end of the day, like, they were absolutely correct. And I don't know if these things are things that people can understand unless you actually go through it yourself. Like, unless you're a minimalist for years on end and only accumulate memories and not material possessions, it might just sound abstract and extremist to make statements like that, like collect memories, not things. But, like, god damn it, it is so true. My memories are among one of my most precious and easiest to transport items. Like, it exists in my head, it's rent-free, it enriches me. When I have conversations with people, it's among the things that make me more meaningful to, like, talk about. Like, when I talk with people and I talk about my experiences, is a lot more meaningful than to tell them, like, I have like 3 Lululemon scuba zips. Like unless you also like Lululemon and you like scuba zips, oh yeah, like, I'm sure we could talk about it. But, like, when I talk about my Korea trip, my Japan trip, my Paris trip, my Germany trip, my China trip, my Taiwan trip, like, I can relate to people and I can talk about, yeah, I think this, I think that. And it's just like, I find a lot more meaning when I think about my memories than I do about my stuff. Like, what did I buy when I was in China 5 years ago? I really don't remember. Like, sometimes I'll remember when I see the item in my closet, but beyond that, the memories are the things that are the most worthwhile. So if you are new in your extreme minimalism journey, something that I do think is a great thing to do, and as somebody who has come out the other end, yeah, they were absolutely correct. place a bit more emphasis on collecting memories, like traveling, experiences. Put money in that you will find a lot more fulfilling, even though it's not tangible. And people say, well, like this material possession will last me longer than the memory. Yes and no. The memory you will carry with you for a really long time. Your material possession, it's not going to bring you as much satisfaction as the memory will. So some people may agree with me, some people may not, but that is just my personal take. That is a great extreme minimalist thing that I could suggest, that if you just never spend the rest of your life accumulating material possessions, accumulating memories is going to fulfill you in ways that you could never really imagine unless you actually experience it yourself. Okay, coming in at number 4, judge not others. So this is one that I came across actually due to my Zen journey. I became a Buddhist when I became an extreme minimalist, because in extreme minimalism, you can't accumulate material possessions. That cuts out a lot of secular life. I couldn't really watch YouTube videos or tutorials on what to buy or what to whatever. Most of Western life is centered around consumption. I was like, what do I read now? Like, what do I consume? So it forced me to have to, who else lives a similar lifestyle to extreme minimalists? I was like, well, monks do. So I started reading Buddhistic scriptures and reading up on monks' lifestyle and watching documentaries on monks. So in my Buddhistic journey, a great thing that I picked up was judge not others. And that's something that has freed me even to this day. Like, I'm not an extreme minimalist anymore, but like, God damn it, it's just such an amazing life tip. You will free yourself by no longer judging others. Like, I don't know how to explain it, and I don't really know how this really ties in with extreme minimalism per se. I mean, I found it when I was an extreme minimalist, but it is such a great life tip. You will free yourself when you stop judging others. I don't really know how to explain it, but I will try. When I stopped judging others, because I used to judge others. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm just a shitty person, but I used to judge people. Human nature, bad upbringing, I don't know. I'd be like, oh my God, like, she's so blah, 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 blah. And like, oh my God, he blah, 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 blah. And like, it came so naturally to me to like just judge others. But in Buddhism, one of the things is say what's only kind, what's necessary, and something else. But essentially the gist is just don't judge others. And what ended up happening is when I stopped judging others, I stopped judging myself. When I had compassion for others, I had compassion for myself. When I would think of others where I might judge, for example, I might be like, wow, like, she's like a terrible mom. When I stopped saying things like that, when instead I'd say, like, honestly, she's probably struggling. Like, I'm sure this is not coming easy to her. Like, she's doing her best. I started to think those thoughts of myself. Whereas before I would have judged myself as harshly as I judged others, I now started to have compassion for myself. So instead of thinking like, wow, like Nat's such a loser because she has such a small YouTube channel, I would think, no, she's doing her best. She's living her best life. She's helping others with her channel. Like, she's doing amazing. And that only came about because I stopped talking shit about others. I finally started to treat myself with kindness. So if anything, at the very least, it can make the world a better place to not judge others. You will find a lot of freedom in no longer judging others. Is it extreme minimalism? Perhaps. Maybe. Like, if you stop wasting so much time buying junk, you could turn yourself into a better person. Okay, coming in at number 5, free yourself from society. And I put like / society's expectations because that's really the thing that I freed myself from in my extreme minimalism. I think it was just kind of giving myself the permission to just be Nat. I kind of gave myself the permission to stop being like a sheep or any societal narrative I had to follow. I finally gave myself the permission to say no if I felt fit to say no. So let me think of some things that I put my foot down and I was like, no. Well, first, one of them, the most obvious one, is I said no to having children. Like, I still get flack for it today, and it still has shocked a lot of people when I told them. It shocked people on TikTok, shocked my parents, shocked my best friend, shocks anyone anytime I talk about it. I mean, they're no longer shocked anymore. It has been some time. But yeah, not having kids was a big, like, whoa. Another one was I decided to go to school abroad. A lot of people were really surprised. I know that, like, maybe nowadays it's not as, like, I don't know, but I was like, I'm gonna go to school in China. People are like, are you sure? Is that a good idea? Was it a good idea? I mean, yes and no, but I was also like, you know what? Like, I'm not just gonna go have a normal job. Like, I'm gonna, like, envision and do something different. I think another thing that I did differently from others is I decided to put my foot down and say no to hyperconsumption for a period of time. I think minimalism is also something that is not the common narrative. I think the common narrative is like shop till you drop. So to kind of go against the grain was also something that I was like, well, I want to try something different. Essentially what I'm trying to say in short is you will definitely find a lot of freedom in putting your foot down with society's expectations. They're not really society's expectations, and so that, like, they only are expectations if you accept them as society's expectations. And I was actually surprised that, like, don't get me wrong, it is actually very hard to go against society's expectations. Like, do not think for a moment that I'm sitting here telling you it was easy. If it's easy for others, fantastic, but it was not for me, and I know that it's not easy for other people. I had a conversation with my best friend. We were talking about having children, and she was telling me that she wishes she had the strength that I did to go against having children, because she didn't want kids, but she felt pressured to have them, so she just figured, I'm just gonna have them anyway. It's easier to have them than to not have them and go against society. So I was like, okay, I can respect that, because I don't think it's easy to be like, yeah, I don't want to be like the rest of you guys. Human nature is to be with the community, to do what everybody else is doing, because that's like core human tendency. We're like group mentality, tribe mentality. If you went against the group, you'd be ostracized and the lions would eat you. So it's a very natural tendency to be with the crew, with the group. So what I'm trying to say is, use your extreme minimalism to figure out what you can and cannot tolerate to society's expectations. Oh, another one, like, I don't have a house at the moment. For my age, I should be, taking on a mortgage. But I was like, no, I'm gonna wealth build. I don't want to be a slave. Like, I don't want to be an indentured slave. Not saying that a house is an indentured slave, but that's something that I also was like, no thank you. A lot of my friends were going on and on and on about the benefits of having a house, and I was kind of like I love that for you, but I don't want a house at the moment. Like, I'm not interested in having a house in the moment. I have other goals that I want to work towards. Like, I'm working towards FIRE, and I want to be financially free. Like, I want to be a millionaire before I buy a house. And I know that sounds kind of insane, but like, and when I say these things, it's like, what? Like, what? But I had to make sacrifices. What do those sacrifices entail? People thinking I'm crazy because I don't want to have a house. So anyway, what does that have to do with extreme minimalism? Well, it's just kind of figuring out what is important to you. If me fitting in was the most important thing, you best believe I'd already have a house. You'd best believe I already had 2 kids for my age. But I decided that's not what I wanted. I decided there were more important things that I wanted that are not very common in my society, or at least around the people around me. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to free myself from that. And I think that in extreme minimalism, figure out what is for you. I'm not saying you need to do the insane things that I'm doing. I'm just saying, like, it's okay to free yourself from society's expectations, because they're not really true expectations. They're just narratives and concepts people made up. So I hope that you could have enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.